Well, welcome everyone, and thank you, Erika Thornes, for joining us today. We're really excited to see your silhouettes contest. Now, you're going to be judging this, and you're going to give us some tips along the way as well. But let's start out. Let's find out a little bit more about you. Go ahead and tell us, who is Erika?
Well, I'm a photographer based out of San Diego, California, who happens to go to the beach quite a bit. So I've been honing my skills on silhouettes, and I'm known for my silhouette work, my underwater work, and my family photography. So it's kind of a fun combination.
Absolutely. And you got the best models ever. Your kids are adorable.
Well,
So,
thank you. It's fun. It's been an adventure.
yes. Okay, Erica, let's go through some of your beautiful images, and maybe you can tell us some tips along the way as well.
Yeah. All right. So I was going to give you a brief overview of some of the images I've selected to show you today, and then we'll go through some of the individual images and some tips that I've discovered along the way. So the first three images here are my beach photos, and we'll talk about how I got the reflections. Then I go into some of one that was on a mountaintop, and a before and after, and some non-beach silhouettes because not everybody has access to a beach. And then we'll talk about layering and emotion and what I'm looking for when I am judging silhouettes.
Great. I love your images. And by the way, I think the silhouettes with the balloons, and that was when I first really discovered or met you.
Oh, yeah, yeah. This is this is one of the unique ones. When I was having a rough day one day, I decided to take the kids down to the beach. I'm like, who doesn't have an enjoyable, relaxing time when you're at the beach with balloons and children? So it kind of set me in a better mood. And what I wanted to say about this silhouette is that one of my tips, I have 5 tips, like you asked us to do, and one of these was you don't have to have your entire silhouette be solid black. You can put people in silhouette and still have some of the details come out in color, like with this, with the balloons or her hair, or the edges of her fabric still have a little bit of color, and I think it adds some dimension to the image. Yeah, so don't think you have to be fully black when you're doing your silhouettes. You can have color elements like the balloons in her hair. So yeah, that was one of them. So, what I kind of wanted, I think what I'll start with is because a lot of people have the most questions over these. What the image, with this image, I think that the key is having that reflection off of the beach, and that comes from being on the beach on a minus tide, and so that's wet sand reflecting. You might not have access to a beach with wet sand, but you probably might have access to a puddle or a pool of water or a fountain that is smooth and reflective. So if you are looking to do a reflective silhouette, it doesn't just have to be at the beach. But this is all done by wet sand on the beach.
Great. Love those clouds reflecting too. Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. And one of my other keys, so you know what, I'm going to tell you the 5 tips right away, and then we can go into the details of what they were. One of them we said was it didn't have to be solid black. Another one was find the emotion. Another one I have is get low. And my 4th one is be unique. And then my 5th is watch your color tonal range. So we'll talk about all of those. But for this image, getting low is key. I wouldn't be able to get quite the same angle on them if I was standing up when I shot this. I like to get really low when I take my photos. I'm almost belly crawling on the sand to get the angle where the sky and the silhouette isn't cutting them off in the head or in the waist, trying to get it as low as possible. So getting as low as possible helps.
Yep. And I've seen you on the ground, on the beach.
Oh yeah.
Yes, many times.
I have pictures of me. I have pictures of me covered in sand up to my chest from belly crawling on the on the wet sand to get my shots.
Yep.
But this one here, the opportunity to get low wasn't there. This was at a wedding up in Julian, California, which is up in the mountains, and I had asked the venue coordinator, "Do you have a place that I can view the sunset?" And they said, "Well, up in our upper parking lot, you can go see it. There's a pretty good view all the way to the ocean from there." So we ran up the hill as fast as we could as soon as we saw that light changing. And I looked around this dusty, dingy parking lot, and I saw the tops of these trees. I saw this, and I'm like, oh no, what am I going to do? There was a picnic table. So we put the bride and the groom on top of the picnic table to shoot the silhouette. So I didn't get low, but I put them high. So, if getting low isn't an option, putting your subject high can really open up a view or a vista for you to shoot.
Wow, you'd never know there's a picnic table under their feet. That's very clever.
No. Yeah, and I was just talking with someone on Google Plus yesterday, and he was inspired by my silhouettes, and we were chatting about it. And he ended up going to the top of the Opera House in Oslo and shooting people enjoying their lunch and enjoying the view from the cityscape. And he did a silhouette from up there.
Wow.
And that was really inspiring to me because he took my stuff and he was saying, but I'm in Norway. I don't have access to this kind of view. And I said, well, let's think about it. What could you do? And he came up with this idea of going to the top of a roof. And it was ingenious. And I really enjoyed the image because he had a lot of layering of people who were interacting and doing different activities. It was similar in feel to this one I have on the beach with the bikers, the runner, the people interacting and people looking for rocks and playing on the sand. But he was doing it in his own environment with people enjoying the view, eating their lunch. And having the details and layers of people really made it an outstanding image.
Wow, that's great.
So, yeah, so that leads to my be unique. You don't have to shoot from a plain view. You don't have to shoot on a beach. You can do something like going to the top of a building to get your perspective for the silhouette. So that would, that fits for that.
Great. Very good. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And well, the other thing I was going to talk about is watch your tonal range. And watch just how much contrast you add to an image. I like to keep, for my personal view, and what I'm going to be looking for when I'm judging is not having neon bands of color. I'm going to be looking for a wide range. It could be black and white with a wide tonal range, but I love bright and bold colors, but they can't be so smushed that you can't see the gradients in the colors themselves. So if we overly saturate the image, we're going to, especially like with this one, the yellows here and the reds could dominate, or these blues could get really muddy. And so when I'm going to be judging silhouettes, I'm going to be looking to make sure that we've got really nice, clean transitions between our colors, and that it is a well-exposed, nice photo that just happens to be done in a silhouette style.
That's a great point, because the title of this is Creative Silhouettes. So not only are you looking for the creativity, but also the technical aspect of an image.
Correct, absolutely. I'm looking to make sure that, it's like, it needs to be able to tell a story and emotion, because you're missing out when you're shooting silhouettes. You're missing the element of the expression on their face. You're missing some of the details in their clothes. You have to tell your story in a different way. You have to tell your story through gesture and through the environment that you've selected. So like this one, she's telling her little brother all about the great big expanse she sees there, and he's looking at her like almost in awe. And I think that the reason that this works is because you can see the profile of his nose, you can see his lips, you can see his little fingers kind of clenched together in a fist, while hers are wide open. And the emotion from her wide open hands is just very genuine and very flowy, like she's so impressed in telling him a grand story. And so even though this is a simple image of them standing by their pool, lucky ducks, it's telling a story of a big sister telling a little brother all about the world. And so to me, this image, even though you can't see their expressions, really still tells the story. So I'm looking for images that tell a story.
I love the gesture in this one. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. So yeah, and this one I was laying on the other side of the pool, shooting directly at them, almost at belly level. Mm-hmm. So because I was able to, that way I could get them propped up into the sky. And let me show you, this is not my best example, but I wanted to give you guys an idea of other things you can do. This one just kind of cracks me up because she looks like she's floating. She looks like she's almost a ghost. And I could crop it differently. I could have made it so that, the flooring wasn't quite there. But I wanted to just present an example. This is at Balboa Park of, you can do a silhouette by using open doors and open windows. You don't have to have a grand vista. You can do it inside. You can do it inside your house. Just any window, any sliding glass door can be processed and be shot in a way that you can capture a silhouette.
That's great.
So yeah, and here's one dorky one from when I was just starting. And this was me pulling and processing way too far in Lightroom. But what I wanted to show is this was an aquarium. So somebody posed in front of a glass aquarium is another, kind of fun, unique, creative way to do a silhouette. It doesn't have to be a vista is kind of my point is I'm looking for things outside the box. I'm looking for things that tell a story, like this family playing bocce ball and how I thought that this was a striking image that I've created because they're interacting and playing, and you can see the light hitting each of the balls on the grass, as well as the mom and son talking about whose turn it was and how to throw the ball. So yeah, so those are tips that I'm looking for. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about find the emotion. I talk about, storytelling and such. And I think that one image that you have of the sister with the, grand gesture and seeing the silhouette of the face is real important. But, these little wonderful images that you have of, I think there was a banner, the kids with the banner.
Oh, this one right here. This?
Yeah, it's fun. It's not what you would think of as a traditional silhouette, but again, your tip of not having it solid black is wonderful. You don't have to see the faces to see the expression that they're having fun and doing something out in the by the ocean. So I think that's a great example as well.
Yes, and it's not processed pure black, and it's processed in more of the matted colors. But for a sunny afternoon at the beach or evening at the beach, I thought that this way of processing a silhouette wasn't quite so harsh, and it kind of led to the emotions of them playing and enjoying themselves.
Right. And Erika, you're shooting into the sun, so that helps with that backlighting and having your subjects dark.
It does. So what I would recommend, if you haven't done silhouette photography, I've got a couple of tutorials out there that talk about how to shoot and how to process them. So you can Google me to find those. But the biggest tip is to expose for the sky. I usually set my camera on manual, or I can set it on aperture priority, but then you're going to want to use exposure compensation to make sure that your sky is what you're capturing as the properly exposed part of your image, not your subject. So however you like to do that best with your camera, the key is to expose for the sky, and I usually try and be about half a stop underexposed for the sky because it's harder to pull details, it's harder to pull those highlights back. You're going to get some issues with the lights, just no information being there. So if you're underexposed, you might get a little bit more grain, you might get a little bit more noise, but you're going to have a much greater ability to play with your images and pull and get that background exactly how you like it if you're underexposed slightly.
Erika, those are fantastic examples. And when I think of silhouettes, you are always like at the top of my list of favorite silhouette photographers. So it's a real pleasure to get to see what you're looking for in this contest that you're going to be doing for us on creative silhouettes.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to see what people come up with. I think that's going to be a huge pleasure for me to explore all of the entries.
Absolutely. Thanks everyone for watching. Good luck to all the entries, and most of all, have fun. And Erika, thank you so much once again.